This probably is the first time and the only time I will ever be on the red carpet. And I want you to know I'm going to enjoy every single minute of that. I hope no one on the Today Show writes about my outfit, and is more interested in my topic. And I want to give a shout out this morning. Make sure I got this going. I'm going to give a shout out to all my brothers and sisters that have trudged that road of happy destiny with me. I appreciate you being there with me over and over again. And I also want to give a shout out to someone that has really helped us look at how we live our lives. I want to give a shout out to Dr. Brene Brown, who happened to be the very first TED Talk I'd ever seen. And Dr. Brown, who is a wonderful researcher, a wonderful author, a wonderful professor, has really helped us learn how to live lives that are vulnerable and how to dare greatly so that we live lives that are wholehearted. So, Dr. Brown, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, this is for you. I'm Kitty, and I'm an alcoholic. And because of the grace of God and a lot of people in a lot of rooms that were encouraging and loving, I am here today, and I've been sober since June 19th of 1979. And I can never, ever be grateful enough for that. And that's why I want to talk about what if there are no lives wasted as a result of addiction and substance abuse. I've worked in this field for over 30 years, and the one question I'm asked consistently, whether it's by parents about their children, whether it's by teenagers about their parents, whether it's about moms, about dads, whether it's about a celebrity, a sports star. When there's a tragic accident, the one thing that is asked over and over and over again is this: what a waste. Why did that happen? What a waste. What a waste of a life. What a waste of a talent. What a waste of a parent. What a waste of losing a child. So, what if today we thought about that there were no wasted lives as a result of addiction and alcoholism? What if no child had to grow up in the fear and the chaos of an alcoholic home? Because right now, 7.9 million do. What if no child ever had to grow up in a home where they weren't sure what was going to happen from day to day, where they weren't sure what the reaction was going to be, where they weren't sure what would happen if they said this, if they did that? What if that fear and that chaos were dispelled? And what if no child had to do that? 7.9 million kids live that way. You may have been one of those children, or you may know one of those children. And it's a frightening experience. It's a frightening experience. And what if no child had to live that way? What if, when we think about our teenagers and the adolescents, what if no junior high or high school had to be a place where there were alcohol and drugs in the halls, in the lockers, in the backpack? Because they're there. They're there. 51% of all adolescent boys and girls report some drug use during their time in junior high or high school. And that is not accounting for the alcohol. 51%. What if our teenagers didn't have to grow up in a culture where doing drugs, experimenting with drugs, trying drugs was something that was just the norm? What if they had opportunities to make different decisions? What if they had a chance to do something differently? What would that be like for them and like for us? Probably one of the most painful experiences I ever have is working with parents whose kids have chosen a bad path, a path that's led to destruction, a path that's taken them away from who they really were created to be. And what if we lived in a world that those teenagers didn't have to live that way? What if we lived in a world where our college campuses were not in the headlines every single week for alcohol-related incidents and incidents related to sexual abuse that we have heard 97,000 reports are due to alcohol and drug abuse and due to intoxication? What if that was not what our campuses were known for? What if that was not one of the battles that we were fighting today on our campus? What if going to college wasn't about that rite of passage? What if it wasn't about being able to go and party and have a good time? And for many people, that's not a problem. For many people, it's not a problem. But for those that come to college that struggle, it is a problem. And what if we didn't have to battle that on college campuses and the really destructive end result of that intoxication? What would that be like for us? Many of you may have been through that. Many of you may have thought about it. Many of you may have struggled with it. What if we didn't have to do that? And what if the many drunk drivers, that one person is killed every 51 minutes due to a drunk driver? One person. Every 51 minutes. What if we didn't have to endure that? What if that person had the opportunity to rethink that fatal decision and make another choice? What would that be like for us? What would that be like for our world? What would that be like for the people that have touched our lives in that way? What if we didn't have to live that way? What if drunk drivers were given second chances not to make that fatal decision? And what if the mom who has worked hard all day, put the kids in bed, fixed dinner, cleaned up the kitchen, and she has waited for that very special time at night where everything is done, everything is taken care of, and she slips into the back room with a wine bottle and drinks herself into somewhat of an oblivion? What if the guilt and the shame associated with that, what if the guilt and the shame associated with that escape was taken away because the stigma was taken away in how we view addiction and how we view working with these people that are struggling with addiction? What if that mom finds a better way? What if that mom could find a different way to live? And what if, and I think this is really important in so many ways, what if the $19.7 billion spent on the incarceration of 48% of the people in the prison system due to substance abuse issues, to alcohol and drug-related offenses, what if that changed? What instead if that billions of dollars was used to provide treatment, access to help, to do something differently? What if that was possible? What if that money was used for something else? So when we think about addiction, one of the things that we don't think about oftentimes is what it's really about, what it's like. It's a cycle. It starts, and we get caught up in that cycle. And what if we really believed, like the American Medical Association said in 1956, that alcohol was a disease, alcoholism was a disease? What if we really believed in the fact that alcohol and drug addiction was a brain disease? And if we really believed that, and if we were able to step aside from the stigma, and if we were able to step aside from the judgment and the guilt and the shame that go along with it, what if we could do that? And what if recovery was possible? What if it was possible to recover from this brain disease? Well, one of the things that we know is that recovery is possible. That alcoholism cycles, that there's places to interrupt that cycle, and there's ways to show that things can change. One of the most exciting things I know are some of the people that I've worked with through the years that have completely and totally changed their lives. Let me tell you about Annie. So Annie came from a pretty tough neighborhood. She had a pretty tough life. She ended up making some very bad choices. Ended up being in prison for quite some time. And when she came out, somebody said, you know what, I'd really like to help you. I'd really like to take you to that next level of your life. Are you interested in going to school? And she said, yeah, I am. So she went to school. She did well. She got a degree, graduated, went on, got another degree, got her master's degree, became a licensed counselor, and today is helping other people with the struggles that she had. And this is what she says about her life. Very quaint, very real. Annie will tell you this. You know what? I went from convict to counselor. I went from convict to counselor. And that is what recovery looks like. That is what recovery looks like. Let me tell you another story of a couple of other people that I have worked with. Scotty. Scotty grew up in a great home, great family, made some really bad choices, and ended up being in trouble, but not in trouble with the law. A little behind in school, but he was smart. And one day he decided that he was going to do something with his life because recovery had given him the compassion and the intensity to want to live a life of service. So he went to school, did very well, went to medical school, did very well, and is now working as a missionary in several underprivileged countries where he is passing on that message of hope. That message of hope. And that happened with another student that I knew. The same thing. She has now dedicated her life of recovery to helping children and helping children to live better lives. That is what recovery looks like. That is what the intensity of wanting to pass on the experience that you've had. That is what the humility and the service to give back is what is meant by recovery. And recovery is not just being sober. It's not just not taking a drink anymore. It's not just not doing drugs. That can be done. But recovery, as we see today, is about sharing your life in ways that matter. It's about sharing your lives in ways that are service to others. And what if we focused on that? The last example I want to mention is a great family. Christopher and Jennifer, both in recovery, both met at college, both graduated from college. He's finishing a Ph.D. and they have some kids now. They have 2 kids. And you know what's important about Christopher and Jennifer? It's not really important that they met in college or graduated or married. This is what's important. Those children will never have to see them drunk. Those children will never have to live in a home that is not sober. Those children will understand the principles of integrity, the principles of being honest, of being open, of being committed to serving others. And that's one of the most important things that we learn from them. And that happens for a lot of people when it comes to recovery. So I'd like to ask you today, what if there were no more lives wasted? No more lives wasted due to addiction. No more lives wasted due to alcoholism. What can you do? Do you think you can impact some lives? Are there people that you know that you struggle with, that you know are hurting? Are there people that you can offer a hand to help? Are there people that you can touch their lives because you've been there yourself? Are there people that you can make a difference to and an impact on? Because if you can, then you are on the right road to making sure that we have, in our culture, in our society, in our community, on our campus, no more lives wasted.